Sometimes your best lessons come after a few bad choices or a few too many Rumpleman shots. Either way, they made me who I am. And baby, that is what we call a power move. All right, y'all. Welcome back to another round of Straight Up No Chaser with your local thirst responder herself, gosh dang it. And today's episode, it is one I have been itching to do because we are talking poor decisions and power moves. We're talking about those moments where you're like, oh, this might be a terrible idea. But it ends up being the exact thing that needed to happen. From bad relationships to bold moves to nights that started with shots and ended with lessons. Trust me, we've all been there. So grab a drink, take a seat, and let's get into this beautiful chaos that made me the badass that I am today, y'all. All right, let's be real. Some of my biggest glow-up moments started with a questionable choice, and I've had a few of them. Like, you ever look back and you just think, damn, that was a mess, but it changed everything. Tell me you're learning without telling me you're learning, okay? I'll go first. All right. Story time. So picture this. It's a packed Saturday night. The music's bumping. I'm slinging drinks, sipping my bush latte like always, taking shots of Rumplemans because honestly, that was basically a part of my job description back in the day. Like, Shay baby with Rumplemans and Bush Light, let's go. I was in my prime. I was the girl who could pour, party, and still close down the freaking bar like a damn champ. But then plot twist. 1 minute, I'm behind the bar. The next, I'm not. Like, I come to and I'm like, where the hell am I? Why am I not at my job? And who the fuck took my Bush Light? Turns out things got real weird real fast. I don't know exactly what went down, but let's just say I got a little too trusting, a little too comfortable, and a whole lot of what the actual hell. Long story short, someone I thought was long gone from my life somehow reappeared in the middle of all of this chaos, right? And that night, that was my wake-up call. I realized I had been pouring from an empty glass for years, y'all, trying to keep everyone else's cup full while mine was bone dry. So I made a decision. No more hard liquor. No more blackout stories. And no more letting people who don't belong in my life sneak their way back in. I'm too grown for that shit. I've been 3 years sober now behind the bar ever since. Still the same wild spirit, just a little more clear-headed and a whole lot more powerful, y'all. Because listen, that night felt like a poor decision. Absolutely. But it turned into the biggest power move of my life so far. And at the time, it felt like a disaster. But now, that version of me needed to crash and burn just to rebuild something better. Poor decisions don't always mean drunk mistakes. Sometimes they're bold moves that people don't understand until they see the outcome. So if you're in that messy era right now, cheers to you, baby. You're just brewing up your next power move. I could see it coming. So yeah. That night was wild. It was scary. It was confusing. And honestly, it was exactly what I needed. Because sometimes the universe doesn't whisper. It just snatches you right off that damn bar stool and says, girl, get your shit together, baby. And from that night forward, I stopped playing bartender to everyone else's chaos and I started pouring back into me. And that right there, my friends, is when the poor decisions turned into them power moves, baby. All right, let's talk about those power moves now. We're going to talk about the moments you realize you're done surviving and you're ready to start thriving. Let's get into it. Because once you've made enough of your poor decisions, you start realizing your worth in the process. The power moves aren't just big flashy moments like quitting your job, cutting someone off, or moving across the country. Sometimes it's those quiet ones. It's like finally saying no when you used to say yes. you were the yes girl. Or not explaining yourself to people who never deserved an explanation in the first place. Like, people need to learn their place in your life nowadays. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I feel like the realest glow up is when you stop proving your value and you start living in it. Like, you stop chasing and you start attracting. And if anyone calls that attitude, no, baby, that's confidence. And if you don't like it, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, y'all. Because every bad night, every heartbreak, every mistake, that's just character development, honey. And I've got a range, let me tell you. So, yeah, when I say power moves only, I mean the kind of growth that doesn't need to be announced. I'm talking the kind that shows up in your energy, in your boundaries, and in the way you carry yourself, even behind the bar. Like, oh, let's talk about working sober in a drunk world. Because people always ask me what it's like to be sober behind the bar. And I tell them, it's like having a superpower, y'all. I see everything. I read people faster. I'm still fun. I'm still social. But when I get up, remembering every single thing I did and said, and everything y'all did and said, it's actually wild. Like, I used to think alcohol made me confident. But turns out I just needed clarity, y'all. My energy hits harder now because it's 1,000% real. You'll know if I like you, and you'll know if I don't. You ever notice how when you stop numbing yourself, your standards go up? Like, suddenly you're like, wait, y'all are messy. Thank you, next. And those boundaries, that's the real flex. Like, my biggest power move wasn't quitting drinking hard liquor or behind the bar in general. It was realizing that I do not have to be everyone's therapist, hype woman, and emotional sponge all in one night. Heck, I don't even have to be your friend if I don't want to. For years, I poured into other people, coworkers, customers, exes, whoever needed a little extra. But now, I do not pour into empty cups anymore, baby. Sorry, not sorry. My peace is priority. My energy is expensive. And if you can't match it, baby, you can't sip from it, okay? I don't chase, I replace. Bar mats and bad habits alike. So when you stop trying to prove your worth, that is when people start noticing your power. I used to think I had to be the loudest in the room to be confident. As if I'm not the loudest already. Come on now, y'all. But now, I'm like, nah. Confidence is walking in quiet and still owning the space. And honestly, it's wild what happens when you clean up your energy, y'all. You attract better people, better opportunities. You stop settling for crumbs because you realize you deserve the whole damn buffet, baby. Poor decisions taught me lessons. Power moves gave me standards. Repeat that to yourself. So, yeah, I may still serve drinks, but I do not serve drama, and that is my power move. And honestly, that's what this whole episode is about. Owning your story. Every messy, beautiful, chaotic part of it. And realizing that none of it was wasted. Every bad decision, every hangover, every moment that you thought you were off track, it was just rerouting you to where you were actually meant to be in life. Because we don't chase validation anymore, y'all. We chase peace. We do not pour from an empty glass. We fill our own first. So here's to the glow-ups that came from the chaos, the strength that came from the struggle, and the confidence that comes from knowing damn well who the fuck you are. And if nobody has told you lately, you're doing better than you think. And the version of you from 3 years ago, or whatever it is in your case, would be proud as hell of you. All right, y'all. That is straight up no chaser. Your bi-weekly reminder that the truth might burn a little, but baby, does it go down smooth. I'll see y'all next time. And until then, make your poor decisions worth it and your power moves loud. Tip your bartenders. XOXO, your local thirst responder.